Hey everyone, so we are talking about rhythm and pattern today. We are starting to explore a little more in depth about the principles of design. So we're going to be talking about different parts of that. Rhythm and movement is one of them, as well as pattern. This may be kind of a refresher for some of you, but it will be a cool project to kind of think about how we can use rhythm in a visual way because we often kind of equate rhythm with music. So we're actually going to be using music to think about how we can use rhythm. So cool, we will jump into this. You will need to read some words, or excuse me, you need to read through chapter 8 in your textbook, which is about rhythm, pattern, and movement. These are all the key words that you should know. The main vocabulary on the left is the most important vocab for us to know for this, so that you understand what these things are. But these types of rhythm and pattern will also help us create a better understanding of how we can use pattern and rhythm together and in our artwork. So after you kind of look at this PowerPoint, you should take notes on these and write those definitions down. We will likely have a quiz over them. Okay, so this PowerPoint is mostly about our project. We are going to use these definitions and rhythm and pattern to create a visual project. So for this project, you're going to need drawing pencils and your watercolor palette and paintbrush, or colored pencils. You will need some paper to sketch on and some paper for your final project. If you're working from home and I haven't given you your supply kit yet, then you can use colored pencils and regular paper. If you don't have colored pencils, you can use crayons. Whatever you have around the house will work for this. Markers would probably work too. If you don't have any of that, just message me. We'll figure something out. Okay, so we are drawing a lot of inspiration for this project from Mondrian, the artist. The painting on the left is inspired by boogie woogie music, which is really cool. Mondrian lived in the city, and he made a lot of paintings about his surroundings and his interpretation of his the city life and the traffic and all that kind of stuff. But he also got a lot of inspiration from jazz and blues music. So you will need to go through this PowerPoint. I forgot about this. He uses simple geometrical shapes. So we can see over here all these squares and rectangles, and he uses primary colors to represent what he's seeing and hearing. Yeah, and we went over that. It looks like a city grid, which is pretty cool. So this video, you'll have to go through this and watch it on your own, but it talks a little bit about boogie woogie music. So this is what Mondrian would be listening to when he was creating these paintings. Okay, so what we're going to do is pick a song for inspiration, and this is kind of what we're going to use as our jumping point for this project. So this can be any song. It can be your favorite song right now. It can be a song you've always loved. Spend some time thinking about it. Pick something that you like a song that you really enjoy, because I think this project will be a little more fun if you do that. So you will need to take notes while you're listening to the song. So I would turn the song on and sit down and get my sketchbook out and take some notes and ask, what is the rhythm like? Is it fast? Is it really slow? Does the song get really loud? Is the song really quiet? Is there a variation of that in the song? Does it start out really loud and then it gets quiet, or vice versa? And then you should think about the different elements, visual elements you would associate with the song. So for my song, I thought of primary colors, kind of like Mondrian did, and then I also thought of circles, because my song sounded a little bit I felt like I would chew bubblegum while I was listening to it, because it was a little bit poppy. Maybe your song is very structured, so you would use squares. So think of the colors and shapes that you would think about while listening to this song. You can draw inspiration from like the album artwork even. Often artists and people who make album artwork, I think they're pretty in tune to what the songs sound like, so they may choose some colors that make sense for the song if you need some inspiration for that. So after you've done this and you've taken some notes, you are going to kind of practice in your sketchbook a little bit. I made my visual notes here on my PowerPoint. I was listening to this song by Billie Eilish. I thought I would listen to something that was kind of popular right now, so all of you could know what I was referencing when I made my artwork. But yeah, I chose primary colors and then I chose circles. And I figured that my painting would have a random and progressive pattern, so my painting wouldn't necessarily be so spaced out. Like we see Mondrian's painting right here. Everything is pretty evenly spaced, and he's got a pretty like standard like pattern going on. Some of these are like closer together and further apart, but for the most part, we see a pretty spaced out, even pattern. But for mine, I thought that my song had a lot of variation in it, so I would have pattern that wasn't so spaced out. Like things would kind of be bumping up against each other. Some of my circles might be bigger than others. Some of my circles might be like wonky and wobbly. I will show you all what I mean by that. So I recorded this video of me making it and sped it up so I could talk over it. But you can kind of see my sketch. So I have some wobbly circles and I have some circles that are very smooth and actually circular. And I thought I would talk a little bit about watercolor because we are going to use watercolor. Right here, I've kind of diluted my paint down. So when you use watercolor straight out of the palette, it's going to be really dark and really concentrated. So what you may want to do is take some water, put it on the side of your palette. This is where you can mix colors. And take a little bit of this pigment and water it down. And you can see how faint it's showing up on my sketchbook because I've done that. And then I have a little accident. I was trying to hurry and do this, but you might want to let some of the layers dry before you put a layer next to it if you're using watercolor. Awesome. So you can see how I'm kind of paying attention to where my lines don't overlap, because where they do overlap, it's lighter, and then if they don't overlap with anything, I'm using darker paint. And you can see that I've gotten this red paint kind of out of the tray. And I'm adding a little more from the watered down version. If you don't understand this or you're having, I think that a lot of you may have experience with watercolor already, but if you don't and this is really confusing to you, just email me and I can help you like answer direct questions. Because I know working with different kinds of paint for the first time can be a little difficult. But watercolor is basically like really easy to dilute, so I chose it because I like the transparency, because I can see this circle on the bottom, but I can also see the circle on top of it. So yeah, I've used really concentrated but dark yellow here, and then right here I went a little lighter so it could overlap. So you can kind of see how I'm using rhythm and movement in this project. I kind of, when I was listening to my song, I thought of like water dropping into other water, like when you see like a raindrop drop into the ocean or something, and it has like a ripple. I was thinking a lot about ripples, so that's why I made some of these a little bit wonky. And if you listen to that song, I don't know what it is. I'm not very educated on musical terms, but there's this like really wonky like electronic sound, and I was thinking about that too when I made this. So I am like really turning my idea of musical and auditory like rhythm that I hear in my ears into something that I can see with my eyes. And I think that's the basis of this project. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to exemplify the kind of the connection between those two, like listening and seeing, so that we can understand how visual artists can use rhythm in their artwork. Um, and a lot of the information in your textbook should really to um, help you understand what these mean. I think there are a lot of really great paintings that they've put in the textbook. I was reading through it and decided to have you all take notes from it because I think that it does a really great job of showing visual examples. So when you're going through and you're writing those definitions, make sure you're looking at those paintings because those will really help like hit home what all of this vocabulary means so that you can prepare to make your project. Cool. So that is all I have for today. Yeah, this should be a fun thing. I hope it's fun for everyone. Pick a song you really like, and it'll be way better. Great, but if you have questions, be sure to add our Mind 101. Our class code should be on our stream in Google Classroom. I posted it yesterday. I'll probably post it again when we have class next. But make sure you click on that and add our classroom so you can get reminders from me or message me if you need to.